You talk a lot about layered solutions where there's not one foolproof solution or this magic tech solution to all our problems.
Well, if I had children today, um, three things I would immediately do is first of all is I would have a dialogue with the children and be very involved in their digital world, meaning I would know every app, everything that is on their phones or in their iPads that you give them. And when you give them any pad, including Androids, what's important is you get involved in their activities. You understand the activities. You go into the same chat forums they go into. Take a look at their posts. And if you see things you don't like, don't immediately start fussing at them or yelling. Instead, what I suggest is start to seek understanding and give them a time for self-correction, correct them back into good behavior. The reason this is important is children today have the world at their fingertips, so they can always find an opposing view to yours. And that's what they're going to rely on to justify whatever they're doing against your will. So what you don't want to have is a battle of will. What you actually want to have is a dialogue with them. You want them to be involved. And what I try to say to parents that ask me this is become their accountability partner, but have them also look at your phone. Now, this is where it gets really tricky,
Mhm.
and parents usually look at me and go, no way. Well, this is the deal. The truth is, if you're willing to be accountable to your children, that will increase the actual probability that they're going to be accountable back. So I really recommend this first technique. And I know this is the one that is not technologically bound. Second one is I would definitely put an app on the phone to actually monitor all the children's activities. And Kim, you know some of
Mhm.
those apps, and I'm going to let you name some of them because it's something you've actually been working with. But those apps are great, but the problem is we know some kids are very tech savvy and will jump over them by going either to a friend's house or using a VPN or other forms of by extension, they just figure out ways around these apps that try to lock the kid down into a playground that you set up for them. Well, the problem is that you might lock the playground down, but understand when your child goes to school, he gets access to people's phones that are not broke or that are not locked down and might get right back on and do everything that you don't want them to do. That is why I always advocate that it's a layered approach because you also want to have a relationship with your children. You want to see what they're actually looking at as much as you have an app on there to put them into your world, your worldview too, all the apps you approve. And then finally, the third one, and this is a super important side to this, which is everyone in the family has to, in my opinion, have an occasional technology day where everyone talks about digital hygiene. For example, email phishing. That is when someone attacks you trying to send you an email or a text. It can be text phishing, and where basically texts are sent and they're trying to solicit you to give up personal information. And it will usually be like your water bill's unpaid, your internet bill's not paid, Wells Fargo you owe money to, or something just weird. But the bottom line is, so many people fall for these attempts in texts, and kids can fall for them too. And before you know it, you're entering information you shouldn't be entering. And these are really bad actors. And once they get that information, they use it against you. So it's super important that you never just plunge in on emails or on text and give private information out. I always recommend that you call the companies and make sure that it's legitimate what you're doing, but be very careful. Don't rely on texts and emails any longer to be truly factual. The way they hack the email systems can look so legitimate, and it's very easy to fall for it. So I say check with the company by phone first before you do anything. Kim, what do you think of that?
I agree.